Hello and welcome to Mr. Sean Oskerka, who is running for Alderman of the 3rd Ward in the April 6, 2021 consolidated election. Thank you for participating in this candidate interview. I will be asking a variety of questions which were developed in a collaboration between the Maine West Westerner Student Newspaper and Pi Sigma Pi Social Science Honor Society. You will have 2 minutes to share your answer to each one. When the 2 minutes have passed, I ask that you only take a few seconds to finish your thought so that we can move to the next question. All right, let's start with question 1. We would like to know, if you had 2 minutes to address the people of Des Plaines, what would you say?
Well, I think Des Plaines, and I've lived in Des Plaines for the last 10 years with my wife and my kids, and one of the things that attracted us to Des Plaines was community and family. And I think that it's easy to get involved in. It's such a nice spirit here, and it's a great place to start to grow your family that when we moved here, my kids got old enough, I volunteered to help coach youth baseball. I've coached both my kids for a number of years. When they were old enough, we got into Cub Scouts, and I ended up being Scoutmaster of Pac 14 over at Forest Elementary for almost 5 years. Over there, we started a food drive through the Des Plaines Food Pantry in coordination with the Community Backpack Project, and have grown that over the years to gain as much as 3,000 or 4,000 pounds of food every year to help donate with that. And then from there, when my kids have gotten older, I moved to the Boy Scout program over at First Congregational Church on Lee Street, where we continue to develop our food drive program. And then over at Forest, while we were there, we managed to create some outdoor activities for the kids to do while they were outside playing and having fun. There's a big U.S. map back on their blacktop there. There's a big giant chessboard. There's Foursquare. So it's all about, I think, getting involved and just being part of the community is what really attracted me here. And I think that Des Plaines has really got that going for me.
Awesome. Thank you for your response. All right, we will now turn to our second question, and you'll have 2 minutes again to provide your answer. Our second question is, how do you plan on managing the spread of COVID-19 in our community, and what are your priorities?
Well, being a healthcare worker, I've worked in healthcare for the last 18 or 19 years. 16 of that has been in the emergency room at local hospitals. And I think the big thing, especially now, especially with COVID, is it's all about the basics of hand washing, mask wearing per the governor's orders and per the town's declaration. But I think what to really squash COVID would be like a hand hygiene program would be good, like a campaign to help remind people to wash their hands. And then now that the vaccine is available and they're going to start rolling that out to more groups in the next couple of weeks, about making sure that we as a community talk about all the places that you can go to try and get vaccinated. And then the bigger problem, though, is getting the vaccine to the people that can't go out to get it, like our elderly, our disabled, our people that can't travel or won't travel because of the pandemic. I think the state and the community need to try and come up with a plan to try and roll out like a mobile vaccination unit to get to these people so that we can try and serve our more underprivileged areas or areas where people can't get out, because Des Plaines honestly is one of the hardest hit areas of COVID-19 in the entire Cook County area. So we really need to find our own hotspots and find out what's going on and try and mitigate those circumstances to get our cases down.
Thank you for your answer. Please take the next 2 minutes to respond to our third question. For the third question, we'd like you to tell voters, how do you plan on improving infrastructure, keeping in mind issues such as flooding, rundown areas, sustainability, and climate change?
Well, I think one of the big things that Des Plaines offers too that people don't take advantage of with us being in the floodplain that we are in is our sewer rebate program that's offered in Des Plaines. A good example is when we did some repairs on our house, the city gave us $2,000 back in a rebate program for preventing flooding for our property. And I think that's an underutilized program and not advertised as well. And with sustainability and climate change and stuff like that going on, it might be time to talk about the possibility of doing like a solar panel rebate where people could add solar panels to their house. I think down the road, as the city looks to replace vehicles, they should look towards electric cars or no emission vehicles to use for the city and trying to promote that a lot more. I know that they've done that. And then like just doing things like community gardens. I know that there's a community garden path that you can get through the park district, but using some more of our open vacant land to help try and grow more fresh fruits and vegetables, especially for those that live in apartments or condos and don't have the ability to grow stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you for your reply. Now you get to consider this fourth question. The fourth question is, what is something you want to see added or changed in the downtown area in order to provide recreational activities and promote local businesses?
Well, I really, personally, I like that we used to have the Friday, before COVID, we used to have the Friday Night Light program where people could come out to Metropolitan Square there and they would have bands or different opportunities for people as a community to get together. And I'd actually like to see that grow even bigger by offering like a farmer's market on a Saturday morning, offering other programs there and trying to attract businesses to come there and do like food trucks and stuff like that. And I think the Displays Theater has that opportunity being redeveloped to bring in some other businesses and to attract more crowds regularly to try and bring some business to the downtown area and to the businesses around it. And then with the parking structure that we have too, somebody that I know suggested that like a community garage sale through the parking structure would give people an opportunity to rent a space or two to bring stuff out for the people that live in the apartments, the condos, or don't have a driveway or don't want to host a garage sale at their house all day long.
Awesome. Thank you for your explanation. For our fifth question, we'd like to know, what do you plan on doing with the city's budget within your term, and what areas of the budget would you prioritize?
Well, I think in the middle of a pandemic, and decisions we make today affect us down the road. There's no debate about that. So I think it's important to at least keep the budget status quo and figure out how to make some cuts in it in order to sustain for the long term, because we need to find different ways to bring in more revenue in order to make up for some of that and still provide the basic services that we do. And I think one of the ways would be the city council has recently talked about small business grants that they could give to help small businesses in this time, and then even furthering that program to keep it going down the road, because even if COVID were to end in 6 months, the businesses are still going to be hurting for years to come. And we want to be able to attract small businesses to help grow the community and keep those businesses here. So I think like something that I would change in the budget or would be try to put forth more of the community growth and make sure that the community has an opportunity to keep growing exponentially with available funds to help them do that.
Awesome. Thank you for your answer. All right, let's shift to our sixth question. For our sixth question, please explain, for our seventh question, we would like to know, how will you promote involvement in local politics, especially for young people?
Well, I think an interview like this is actually a really great way, and I was really excited when I got the opportunity to participate in this to help young people get out and talk to people about their ideas and express their ideas and get involved in the process early on. And I think one of the things that Displays offers is a youth commission, which is nice, where kids can get involved in that. And then there's like politics at the high school where you have your class presidents and stuff like that. But even talking about creating something like a junior city council where people in the community, the children in the community, the youth in the community could partner with their local alderman to learn about what an alderman does, what kind of government we have, how they could get involved, and how really banding together with their friends, doing something simple can make a big change and fostering their ideas, because they're really the ones that we make decisions for today that affect tomorrow. And we really should try and include them in on those decisions today, because it's going to be about their tomorrow in the long run.
Awesome. Thank you for your answer. Our next question. How do you plan to expand and promote education in Displays, particularly education about our city's history?
Well, I think that using our Displays Historical Society is a really good start, and trying to get them into the schools more and out in the community a lot more. I know that they've done a good job building themselves back up and hosting open, free events throughout the community, but I think there's nothing more important than trying to get them into the schools to offer programs about the history of Des Plaines and why we are and what we've done and things like that, and offering, even at the high school level, offering a civics class about the history of Des Plaines so people can learn about where they come from and where the city is headed and the changes that have been made. And then I think just getting to know the principals of the school is really important, because they're the ones that deal with the day-to-day operations of stuff and can really let you know what's going on. And like, as a Cub Scout pack, we were able to partner with Dr. Fogarty and Principal Figura about the map we painted on the back property there. We had some service that we wanted to offer, and they had a need. And we were able to partner with them on that to put that out there so that the kids could have some outside time during their classroom time to go out and learn about the United States and where states were located and what they were shaped like. And then we added stuff for them later on for their lunch break when they can't be out in the snow or the field is flooded over their forest. Like, they have an opportunity to play chess. They have an opportunity to play Foursquare. They have basketball nets and things like that. So we're just trying to provide a different opportunity there for kids to be able to do something and get outside. And I think at every school we have in Des Plaines, there's an opportunity for something like that, to get to know the principals and get involved with relations with them like that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Let's move to our next question. As always, you'll have 2 minutes again to share your answer. For this question, if elected, how do you plan to build an equitable relationship with the community and the schools in our city while making your presence known?
I think it's all about attending events and letting people know that you're there and making a presence and showing up at things like partnering with like the PTC at the local school to see what they're doing, promoting their events, and then asking them to promote events that we're trying to do at the same time. And then just making sure things like crossing guards are available at all schools. And then if they have issues with pickup and drop off, making sure that those get solved and making sure that everybody has a pleasurable experience while they're there and getting in and out of the building and on and off the property.
Awesome. Thank you again for your explanation. All right. For our next question, we would like to know, what specific means of communication will you use in order to regularly communicate with constituents? Will there be newsletters sent out, a dedicated Facebook page, regular ward meetings?
Well, I know Alderman Rod here in the 3rd Ward used to host a community meeting up at the Prairie Lakes Center in the theater there. So I'd like to, in post-COVID time or when the state allows it, to continue to have in-person meetings as much as we can, once a month. But until then, I think we would host a once-a-month meeting on a Zoom like this where we can inform the community about what's going on. I think a regular monthly newsletter, too, for those people that can't attend a Zoom meeting. And then starting an email distribution list to update community members in between those newsletter times about important topics related to city issues.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts. All right, we will now turn to our next question of the day. Please share with voters your opinion in response to this question. Let's say you get elected. When your term is up, how do you envision you will have helped better Des Plaines?
I'd like to think that I made it a better place for everybody by creating an environment where families come in, and they start their family here and they grow their family here, and then their kids want to live here. And we have an opportunity to play here and hang out here. And the downtown area becomes a place where kids go on their free time and they hang out and they use the library, and that we've made a community where everybody feels safe and happy and proud to say, I live in Des Plaines, Illinois.
Awesome. Thank you again for your answer. And for our last question, is there anything else you would like voters to know?
I think I want voters to know that the best way to get involved in your community is honestly voting for somebody that you think will represent you well. But it's also about getting out and doing the service to help your community, to get involved, to show up to ward meetings or city council meetings. There's nothing more passionate than people that believe in something that then go talk to their elected officials about it. You can't change things that you don't know. And the best way to know is by telling somebody and then participating in that change so that everybody has an opportunity to make it a better place. It's not up to just one person. It's about everybody coming together to create that voice where everybody's heard and you make an option that's best for the majority of the group at the time. And the best way is to honestly get involved as much as you can.
Great. Thank you so much again for your participation in this interview and for your interest serving our community. So that concludes our interview questions. And if voters would like to know more information about your platform or plans, what's the best way to find out more details?
I do have a Facebook page. It's Sean Oskerka, 3rd Ward.
Awesome. Thank you again for participating. This means so much. Thank you very much for serving our community.
Thank you for taking the time out to interview me.